It's fascinating to enter a greenhouse when it's 18 degrees Celsius outside and it feels like the tropics inside. It's mid-February, and the harvest is just around the corner. Greenhouse farming is considered one of the most profitable sectors in agriculture. This is because the products we grow command a higher price due to being out of season and not competing with open field produce. As soon as open field produce becomes available, prices drop sharply. We are often asked, what are the most profitable greenhouse business options? There are many different directions to choose from nowadays. Classic options include tomatoes and cucumbers grown in greenhouses, which have been studied and calculated down to the smallest detail. These are the most popular plants for closed ground cultivation. They can yield a very high harvest. The second type is shelf-grown plants, cultivated on shelves or tables. They also offer high profitability with the right approach. A crucial aspect is finding markets for your produce. The nuance here is that you can build a great greenhouse, grow a great crop, but if you can't sell it, you'll simply waste time, money, and nerves. Therefore, before starting full-scale greenhouse construction, it's necessary to find companies to sell your produce to. In other words, there must be sales outlets. This is the starting point. When calculating the viability of any business, four main factors must be considered: the advantages of the business, the opportunities that the business presents, the risks associated with the direction, the disadvantages of this direction. The advantages of the greenhouse business in winter are primarily the low level of competition. Why? Because starting such a business requires significant initial investment, which automatically eliminates many small farmers. As a result, we operate in a low competition environment. Opportunities include expansion and scaling. 2 or 3 greenhouses can grow to 10-15. The more greenhouses, the lower the cost of production. Greenhouses can be located in different regions, allowing for the capture of new markets and continuous expansion. Risks include competition from foreign products. Cheap imports can undercut the price of your produce. There is also the risk of increased production costs, rising prices for electricity, fuel, and wages. Human factors can pose risks as well, such as lower than expected yields. A shortage of qualified personnel and workers is another risk. Before starting, all 4 factors must be carefully analyzed: advantages, opportunities, risks, and disadvantages. Only then can we get a complete picture of our future business. The main classic directions are tomatoes and cucumbers. There is another direction, which is salads and greens. Microgreens are also a very profitable and high-demand crop. Incidentally, there is a trend of growing demand for floral products year after year. An analysis was conducted asking men how often they give flowers per year. 14% of men give flowers once a month, 37% once every 3 months, which is the main group to focus on. Looking at this statistic, we can understand how many flowers can be grown and what the demand for them will be. 24% of men give flowers twice a year and 14% once a year. These figures are constantly shifting towards the middle, and the figure of once a month is constantly growing. Flowers are being given more often, perhaps because men are messing up more often. There are 3 days a year that feed the entire year: Valentine's Day, International Women's Day, and the first school day of the year. These 3 days generate 60% of the turnover of the entire flower business. Another direction we mentioned is salads. This is a very interesting niche, and its main advantage is that salad is fresh and beautiful only when grown locally. It is almost impossible to import from abroad and preserve its appearance and freshness. Freezing and thawing will not work, they lose their quality. Salads and regions are a factor that works great. The demand for healthy food increases significantly in winter compared to summer because there is open ground in summer, and there is nothing like that in winter, which is why demand is growing. Another direction we mentioned is strawberries. It is gaining great popularity due to high demand and expanding sales opportunities. This greenhouse produces organic products. They are significantly more expensive but in high demand due to being grown without chemicals. Only organic fertilizers are used here, making it an organic niche. The nuance and challenge of growing organic produce is that it is significantly more complex and expensive, as more resources are required to combat pests and plant diseases. However, this niche is very promising and low competition. Demand for such products is growing as everyone's top priority is their own health. Another direction is growing seedlings for resale and open field cultivation. Another interesting direction, which has declined somewhat but is now undergoing a revival, is snail farms and greenhouses. When there was a quarantine, demand for snails dropped significantly, but producers are starting to reorient themselves towards the domestic market. Frozen snails can now be easily purchased in many supermarkets. This product is just gaining momentum and will replace snails and dietary types of meat products. It is also important to understand that a grown product has an average cost by itself, but if we package it and make it more presentable, the cost of the product increases, the shelf life also increases, and it sells much better. In the next 3-5 years, products from greenhouses will go online, that is, they will be sold online. This is the direction in which it is necessary to develop, creating a product that will be in high demand. These are the main directions of the greenhouse business that are currently relevant in our country. This is a complex business, it is difficult, and often starting your own business is fraught with many mistakes and miscalculations, especially if you are starting your own business on your own. Of course, it would be right to find a good agronomist who will build the entire growing process from planting to harvesting. If you want to start a greenhouse business on your own, I recommend starting with a small greenhouse. First, learn how to grow in it, and then constantly scale up. You can even put a greenhouse in your summer cottage, start with it, and it can already be a commercial project that will eventually turn into a full-fledged income. Thank you all for your attention and I wish you all high yields.